lights go dim, it's time to find out what's within. Behind the camera, there's so much more. With AndyGames, let's explore. Behind the camera with AndyGames, meet the streamers, learn their names. Off the screen, who are they? Tune in now, don't delay.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Behind the Camera with AndyGames. This is the podcast where I interview people from the world of content creation and beyond with the sole purpose of getting to know the person a little bit better behind the camera. In this episode, I sat down with TNewm, a Super Mario 64 speedrunner and one half of the Super Newman brothers, the other half of course being NewmanBeatbox, a previous guest on the show. We discussed all things from TNewm's origins in gaming, Mario 64 speedrunning, and much, much more. Here is the interview. Ty, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Behind the Camera with AndyGames. It is a pleasure having you on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
No, of course. Anytime. It is an absolute pleasure. I know we've been through a couple of reschedules, but obviously it's one of them things, man, where life happens. Life happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes just things are unavoidable, and but at the end of the day, we'll get there. We got there, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I should take a lot of the blame for the rescheduling and stuff. Things on my schedule have just been crazy lately, but yeah, we worked it out, and you found another time. You've been willing to have me on, even though all that happened. So just appreciate it.
It's all good, man. All good. Wouldn't have missed it. So let's just get straight into it, man. So take us right back to the very beginning. So your background as a gamer and how that got you into streaming. What was your story like for that?
Love it. Yeah, dude. So my story is quite intertwined with NewmanBeatbox. When it comes to gaming. When it comes to gaming, growing up, everything like that, NewmanBeatbox is my younger brother. We're 3 years apart, 2.5, 3 years apart. Not a huge gap. And so we game together our whole lives. All sorts of different games. We're talking N64 games, what I'm streaming now with Super Mario 64. We went into Smash Brothers. We did a lot of Guitar Hero. I would bet that you can't find many people better at Guitar Hero than NewmanBeatbox. Just saying.
Way.
Oh yeah.
He left that part out, funny enough, whenever I chatted to him. Interesting.
Yeah, dude. That guy is very good at that game. Also, just the sequence type of things, Dance Dance Revolution, he can do that really, really well. There's this game, I just go back to this one because this, to me, connects. But have you ever played Fusion Frenzy on the Xbox? Have you heard of this game?
The name of it sounds familiar, but I know for a fact it's nothing I've ever played, but it does sound familiar.
Sure. Think Mario Party, but take Nintendo out of it, kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's a ton of mini game challenges basically, and you playing these mini games. There is a mini game called Twisted System in that, and it's so simple. Your guys are just running up this corkscrew, and you press A to jump over the things that are on the ground. You press B to duck under the ones that are going to hit you in the head. That's the whole game. Okay. It just continues to speed up. This game is something Matt could not be beat. He would get higher than anybody that ever came over. I would try to play him all the time. All of these sequence type of things is something that he's just been good at. So we've been gaming with that turned into shooters. So I played tons of Halo. As I got older and stuff, we did when Warzone came out, I did a lot of Warzone. During that time, Warzone kind of got bad, and we went to we did some Halo Infinite, and we did some Apex. We're bouncing through all these shooters. Shooters are fun. It's fun. It's competitive, but everybody in the whole world plays these, right? It feels to be the best of the best, you really you just. It seems impossible, right? It is super fun, and we would climb and things like that. But this whole long rant that I'm telling you about the gaming is what leads to where I was when I started seeing like Super Mario 64 speedrunning.
Yeah.
So like all that gaming background, Beats and I always played all these games together, played a lot of shooters, but we were in a weird place playing Apex. I think at the time, or maybe it was Halo. I don't remember. And I started seeing Ryukar like doing 70-star runs on TikTok. And this is like fall 2021 to like winter 2021. So he's like pushing 70-star runs. He is not like doing a ton of resetting either.
Yeah.
This dude's like getting on at noon, doing like a no reset unless he died like pretty early, then he might reset, and that was it. And so it was like 1 hour, 2 hour a day, but he was getting on every day, and I just like I'd heard of speedrunning. Like it's not like I wasn't aware of what it was, but it was the first time I really like saw a competitive side to like Super Mario 64, a game that I like loved, but I beat it. You know what?
Yeah.
Like I know how to get all the stars. What else do I have to do in this game? Kind of thing. And so speedrunning like just kind of like opened my eyes a little bit. Like holy crap! Like I can actually compete at this game a little bit. And that's kind of like how my streaming journey and like gaming background, like that's how this all started for me. Was like always gamed, always did things like that, but then came across like some Super Mario 64 70-star and just hooked. And I remember like wanting him to get it so bad, but also knew from like him talking, once he got a sub hour, he was going to quit.
Yeah.
And like that was really like the driving thing, is like he achieved that sub hour and he like stopped, and I was like, man, dude, like I have got to learn this. And I had been like trying to learn different pieces of the speed run, but that's really what like pushed me into I'm going to start streaming speedrunning. So
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's actually funny you say about Ryukar, because he was actually the first person I ever saw speedrun as well. I had no idea what it was. And it was, I was thinking it could have been around the same time because he was doing 70 as well. But this would have been maybe a year or so after yourself. So it was maybe the start of 2023 as I first seen him. And it was kind of like similar idea as well. Like I'd seen it before. Like I'd seen obviously an influx of people coming up on my algorithm playing Mario 64. And I was like, this was my game as a kid. Like, and
totally.
Yeah. And then that's it's amazing that kind of like world that opens up for you as well. And I kind of like, you know, in your sort of situation here where it's like your gaming journey's kind of gone full circle, where you started at these like Mario games and then moved into the competitive side, and then all of a sudden like your original OG game, you found a competitive aspect of that and are able to sort of just turn it into your main thing about streaming, which is like incredible. Because obviously you guys, you know, and obviously talking about Beats as well, you guys are the the Super Newman brothers. That's obviously like, you know, you got how you guys are known, and like I know like there's an aspect of that you've like branded that for yourselves, like, but it's brilliant though. Like it's, and obviously everybody knows who you both are, both individually and together. What's it like sort of streaming alongside your brother in a sense of that, especially talking about the competitive aspect that you guys had growing up? Like because it's when you're in that sort of aspect of streaming, specifically like a speed run, as a speedrunner, like there's that kind of competition. Like do you kind of still feel like there's that with Beats, or is it just at this point where it's like so many years on, it's like you just riding the wave together and it's just fun?
I mean, it is that, like what you said at the end, like riding the wave together and it's fun. That is accurate. But yeah, dude, like so started streaming, and Beats is really like helping me. He did some streaming before, like most recently when he came to TikTok and started doing Super Mario 64, and he has tons of background with like acapella and production and things like that. Like he's been in this world, and so he, like when I started, he's the guy I go to. I'm like, dude, like I'm gonna start doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? And so for the first, I don't know, however long it was, I probably started my first stream in March-ish of 2022. And I think Beats came along like June, July. I can't remember exactly, sometime in those summer months. He was helping me a lot then, but then, like you said, okay, so like now the aspect is he's watching me. I'm talking to him about all this speedrunning stuff, and now he's doing it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I'm so like I love talking about it. I don't know, like Matt and I have a really good relationship, right? Like we've just been close. Like we have things like every other brother. Like every brothers have
Oh,
things,
for
but
sure.
we've had a close relationship, and gaming just kind of like brings us together. So the thing that I knew, and if you go back to like my streams when Matt was starting, I very like I don't mean to be the guy that's like, I told you so kind of thing. But in this one, I'm kind of going to take it because I really knew, like, just competing with him in video games my entire life. Like, he is, I'm going to have to step up my game, like, quite a bit, you know? And at this time, like, I think I'm even, like, close to sub hour, or, I'm not doing terrible. It's been 6 months or so, and I'm, like, getting better, but I just like knew he was going to be pretty good pretty fast. Now the speed at which he got fast was even, like, I have to say, I did not think he was going to get that good that fast. But all of that being said, I also was not the runner that I am now, and I would not be the runner that I am now if Beats didn't start. Like, I saw a whole new like side to how you learn to speedrun, and like how the method to like getting fast times. He just seemed to have a knack. And so, and I had a front row seat to that, which in turn, like, again, I'm being like way long-winded and feel like I'm just rambling, but
No,
like
please do, man.
it's
Please
really
do.
it's really like Beats just showed me the level that he's going to play at. This is normal. I've gone through this forever. But now I have to like reach that, or I'm just going to, get way left behind. And in some aspects, like, he is way further than me in some aspects of the game, but again, like, I wouldn't have got to the levels that I've got if he didn't join and start doing it. And this is where like the competitive comes in. Yeah, I want to beat his times pretty bad. Like, not even gonna lie. Like, if it was reverse, I don't know that he, I would hope he would say it, but he does want to beat me just as bad as I would want to beat him.
Yeah.
With that being said, like, I totally am thrilled about his success. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, they're like at the competitive side of me, sure. Like, I want to be faster than everybody. And like, yeah, Beats is really close to me, so like I definitely want to be faster, but like I'm also like so thrilled, so like stoked at the progress and levels that he's been able to reach. And also, like I said, I would not be where I'm at without him doing that either. So our stories are just really intertwined in my mind. And that's like, I don't know, to give some insight, that's kind of how it is. I definitely want to beat his times. And I think about that often. But I also like really am stoked for him in everything that he's doing too. So
Yeah, I think like you both you guys do have an incredible story like together, and the fact that you started streaming first, and then obviously Beats comes along, and that gives you that sort of drive to be the best you can, and it's just that like never dying competitive edge that you both guys have together. And what I particularly love about that is the fact that it's almost like it's like you're both in silent competition with each other, because if anybody watches yours or Beats' streams, it's not like a sort of thing. It's like, oh, I'm going to be Ty's time. Oh, I'm going to beat Beats. It's like, no, it's just you're both. There's like that individuality about it, and that's kind of what, like, I think that's what kind of keeps it so like authentic, because it's like you guys are giving each other that drive together to both improve on like a,
Yeah.
an individual level, and I think that's like that's probably the best way to do it. So based on that, then was Mario 64 always gonna be the plan, like to solely exclusively stream Mario 64, or was it that competitiveness that kind of sort of laid out that path?
Yeah. Good question. I have actually thought about this, like reflecting back at that time. What was my mindset? And I feel like personally, I like my drive and reason might be a little different. Like I don't know. Maybe this isn't true. I have no idea. But what I'm trying to say is like I started streaming because of Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
So the plan was never like I'm going to stream and what game am I going to play or like what do I want to do? It was like, oh, I want to play Super Mario 64. I want to get good at speedrunning it. I'm going to like stream to document that journey. Now along the way, I feel like I've had to learn things about streaming, in general. Like, I didn't even consider the entertainment factor, at all when I started. I didn't even think about like, how should I be on stream? Should I be happy? Should I be this? Like, I didn't think about those kind of things. I just like started getting on. I guess like I did have like some things in mind. Like I there's not profanity on my streams
Yeah.
usually or things like that. And like really that I mean, I didn't mean to touch on this, but like really it was just me and my if my sons ever go and watch my streams, like that's really what is in my head
Of course.
around that is like anyways, that was my thing about it. But really, I mean, the stream in general didn't have a plan. I didn't have like these plans on how I'm going to entertain people or get people to watch or things like that. It was I'm just going to get on and try to get better at Mario. So to answer like that question, it was always Mario because that was almost like the reason I was streaming in the first place. And now there are there are other games that I may get into speedrunning and stuff. Like I really enjoyed watching Surtees tournament with the new run stuff
brilliant.
and like seeing like Ocarina of Time. It's if it wasn't Super Mario 64, it would be Ocarina of Time. Kind of thing. And I loved watching Beats learn that, watching like Bryce learn that. Everybody like learning that game and how to speedrun it. I mean, I even started learning just a little bit. I didn't get through it, but so like there's potential for that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like I'm too far down the road in this journey. At this point, like we haven't got into this part, but like speedrunning in general. You kind of got to be a little bit sick in the head or something, I don't know, to decide to speedrun. But like at this point, I've gone down that rabbit hole so much, I feel like I can't turn around. And I just got to keep going until I can't, kind of thing. So it will always be Super Mario 64 and like the main goal in my mind of just trying to improve. I don't know where that ceiling is. I don't know where that limit gets to, but that's like the main goal for me for streaming. So
no, of course, like it is an addictive process, speedrunning, especially when you first get into it and you see another streamer playing the game in a way that you've never seen it played before. And obviously like there's the nostalgia aspect of everything where you see someone playing a game and you're like, I want to play this again because this was my childhood, but I want to learn how to do it differently. I mean, in a way, you get to basically play the game for the first time again. It's like the closest thing that you get to doing that. And obviously, I think everybody has their games where they wish they could play it for the first time again. And like, even like, I mean, for the amount of times like I myself have played Super Mario 64 in the last 2 years, I still have those weird nostalgic flashbacks every so often. I don't know what it is. Maybe if I just sort of during like the opening title sequence, if I just sort of like zone out for a second, you always get that kind of like chill down your spine and just you remember like being in a certain year as a kid playing this with like not a trouble in the world. It's so like it's crazy. And so I can see why that Mario 64 would be the only thing based on everything you've just said. And like, as for whether there's a ceiling or not, it's one of those things like there doesn't have to be, because
Right.
I think there'll always be room for improvement in the smallest things, because obviously when you get to like the level of the likes of yourself, the sort of improvements have to be way more fine-tuned than somebody who is like get a new PB every stream, because you know, like the sort of like there is more room for improvement. But it's
Totally.
you did make an interesting point as well about getting into streaming itself and only sort of really thinking about half of it and what you're going to stream. And I
Yeah.
definitely think that is something a lot of people do. It's almost like, especially in this day and age. So I think if you go back like 2 years ago, it was a
Yeah.
totally different thing than what it was, than what it is now, I should say, because it's a lot more accessible for people now. So people kind of need to think about that kind of earlier.
Yeah.
So like, what was your initial setup? Was it still the same sort of thing, like a PC, or are we talking like bare bones kind of thing?
It was on okay, no. I started on Virtual Console on the Switch. That's how I
Ah.
started. I did the whole thing where I needed to get to 1,000 followers, and dude, I am a little embarrassed about some of like not, I guess embarrassed isn't the right word, but thinking back, like I used to like put messages in Ryukar's like live streams at the end and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to like gain followers to like speed run live," because you needed 1,000 before you could go live
Mhm.
on TikTok. And so I was doing things like that. Once I got to 1,000, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have like live studio and all my stuff, so that I can just stream from my PC. And nope. At the time, that gave you access so that you could live stream from your device, but you did not get access to Live Studio
Oh,
till you got like 3,000 or something like that. At least those were the guides for me. So I'm
yeah.
like, trying to get to this goal, get to 1,000. It's like sweet, and I'm like a third of the way there, or whatever. So, but I did get like going live does help quite a bit. So things picked up steam. But I was doing the thing. I think like my initial setup was like Nintendo Switch, that I had a capture card going to my PC. I had OBS up, and my camera was just like my phone device was just on a like tripod looking at my screen of OBS, like full screen. And that's how I did. I had to read all my comments and everything on the device, but everybody could see it. What I thought was like as close as I could get, to like a normal type of stream. So when I started, yeah, that's what my setup and that stuff. Oh, that was such a crazy time just trying to get followers in general just to go live. That was weird. So,
Oh, dude,
anyways.
I love hearing people's original setup stories, just because I don't think there's like very many people, unless you've been like involved in content creation in some way for a period of time preceding you going into streaming. It's always going to be some innovative way,
Yeah.
particularly involving your phone. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, and like, but the thing is, it's like when you start to get that experience, that's how you decide what kind of streamer you want to be. Because
Totally.
especially when going back to like when you first discovered like Ryokar, and then undoubtedly your algorithm was probably then sort of more or less exclusively Mario 64
Yeah.
streamers, right? But
Yep.
every single one of them is different until you
Yeah.
get to like the level where they're kind of having to like focus and they don't really give a damn about chat or anything like that. But it does help. So a mixture of that and then also going live yourself, it does help you kind of decide, okay, I want to sort of add like a little bit of production. I want to kind of be entertaining. I want to be engaging, this, that, and the other, because there is a massive difference based on what people really want out of it. Because I think a lot of people, and particularly now with the fact that it's so accessible, um, people now are just excited to go and do it, and they kind
Yeah.
of like go off the sort of people who've been doing it for the last couple of years and have more of an influence, you could possibly argue. And then obviously people get excited to see more people streaming. They want to kind of do it themselves. And then in a way, it does kind of become like a little bit saturated, but then you really do kind of see, like, I kind of feel like there is like a massive like dropout rate of people doing it because like they kind of realize there is work to this. You have to put in effort into, like, whether you just want to stream for people to watch you, totally fine. But if you want to kind of grow and you want to sort of like grow a brand out of it, you have to put in like the work for content. You have to sort of have like a niche about your streams, for example, or whatever it may be. And even clipping and editing videos, man, like, I mean, you'll know this yourself. It's sort of, you can sit there for maybe 2 or 3 hours and you might have maybe 2 or 3 days worth of clips. And it's like, and at the end of the day, you know, yourself, myself, we're like working professionals by day, and this is what we do in like our spare time when we can. And like, you know, with yourself, like with a family too, it's kind of like, where do you find the time to do this, man? It's like, and it is kind of interesting to see a lot of people's journeys go. And obviously, you know, it's not to sort of like crap on anybody at all, because the fact that it takes a lot for people to even get behind a camera and do this and talk to people, especially strangers, because I have a lot of respect for the likes of yourself starting out on TikTok, because, I mean, you know better than anyone what TikTok can be like. You know?
Like, oh man, there's so many things here. So yeah, like some of what you touched on as far as like time. So I definitely want to talk about that, not because like I always feel, well, I guess like this gets into like a way large topic, because as streamers, like I care about the people that are spending time on my stream. You know what I mean? Like I really care. Like I know everybody does. Everybody feels like you inherently, people that are like spending time watching you during the day, gifting, whether they're gifting or not, but subbing, there are people that do this for all of us. And like there's just like this inherent, like, I don't know, like I don't owe anybody anything, but I like feel like I owe people, you know, like they are supporting me, giving me time. I'm sure everybody feels like this. So like, I guess what I'm getting into is like this whole time thing. Like I feel like I give excuses a lot, you know, like as a streamer, I feel like I'm always like, oh, I can't stream because of this, or I can't stream because of that. And that kind of stuff comes up. And I think like ultimately for me, it feels like I'm giving reasons like not to succeed, or like I'm like giving myself, this is why I'm not going to grow, or like this is why I'm not going to do this, because like what you said is so true. I like do my 9 to 5, then I'm trying to stream. I chose a game that I have to put so much time into being able to like be good. I guess like I can't improve if I don't spend a lot of time. It's like the only path to like, for me, seeing to get better is just like hitting practice constantly on different movement that's difficult. And this takes hours, like, because you get in a run, you have to hit it every time. You don't hit it once, you have to hit it like every single time. So like the time that I want to spend when I am not on my 9 to 5 or not with my family or not doing anything else is playing Mario and trying to get better at Mario. So great. That all sounds great. And like, yeah, like that's what I have spent my time over the last 2 years doing. But what you don't see are like very many TikToks posted. Like I don't post very often. I like, do I have methods to grabbing clips and things like that? Yes. But to like be able to clip things down, like you're saying, create content across, there's so many platforms I would love to create content for. I want to create, like, I want to put all my VODs on YouTube. I want to like cut down and do highlights of all my good like high level streams and put those on YouTube. And I just want to like push this content out. Where does this time come from? Is like where I end up like struggling. and again, the reason I said this feels like an excuse, but like I don't know where it comes from. What I feel like I would need to do is like quit my 9 to 5 and then put all of those hours that I'm spending into content and things like that. And I do think that is probably the best path to like growing and like being more successful. I totally see that path. Like I get that's the way to do it. I don't see that path for me with my family and my kids and like all those kind of things. And again, excuses, I guess. Like I don't know, but it also is like a reality when you have people that depend on you
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like it's I do want to become successful. If streaming could be my only income, that's like dream world ideal, right? Like I think everybody wants to get there to that, but there are like realities of life and like things that I have a responsibility for. Everybody else does too.
Yeah.
And these things get in the way of that time that you're talking about. Like I could be up till 2 a.m., but then I'm cranky or whatever. You know what I mean? So like there's all
Yeah,
these things to
sure.
consider. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like we mentioned ceilings before in regards to Mario 64, but which there may or may not be. But then in terms of streaming and sort of what you want out of it versus what is actually attainable, there always is. And it's like you say, I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly there, because the only way to sort of break through the ceiling is by turning it into almost like a full-time venture, or at least cutting down on your 9 to 5 to sort of put more time into it, because like time and consistency is absolutely key for these things to sort of fulfill their potentials. Because I mean, when you look at sort of success in terms of streaming, it's like, how do you define it? Do you define it by you might have earned X number of revenue, or you've achieved this many followers or viewers, or to even break it down simply, do you did you just have a good stream? Do you just enjoy it? Are you happy enough to keep it where it is, kind of thing? And I think the
yeah.
definition is kind of like so subjective in terms of that. But this actually does kind of lead on to something that I was going to discuss, because you and Beats have been kind of outspoken in the past about the idea about taking this full time. I guess probably more Beats than
Yeah.
yourself. And again, it's probably due to more attainability. Um, and you pretty much answered it in saying that, you know, it's whether it's a possibility or not is kind of like, at the moment it's probably not. But
Yeah.
if the opportunity presented itself, do you think that's something that you could do? Or is it still just a pipe dream at this point?
Yeah, I think it is like it's something I could do. Um yeah. Uh I think yes on that answer. The whole thing on like can it be a full like, man, it does seem kind of far out there. You know what I mean? Like it seems from my perspective that there's a long way to go. For like me to be in a place where that could be a reality. Beats um probably similar. Like I mean, he's putting a ton of hours in currently. Like he's doing so many things. But I think it could happen. That I do think it is one of those things where I don't know. It's like the niche thing you kind of brought up. Like, what is that thing that could like launch us to be a little more popular or things like that? Kind of thing. Like if something like that happened, then sure. Like yeah, like maybe like this is a different discussion because like there's more things happening. I mean, probably same things you think about with different ways that you can grow and expand.
Yeah.
But like I'm just I don't know what that thing is or if that thing's gonna come. Like Beats and I talk about co-op a lot. We're gonna do more co-op this year. I think like we're gonna like we think we have a pretty cool thing there. Like maybe that could catch on and pick up some steam. I would personally love it if like more runners got competitive with this. Like
Yeah.
that would be so fun. Kind of thing. Like Beats and I do like the competitive aspect of things. Like if you can't tell, like that is a driving aspect And so right now, like last year, we did do co-op together. We did a 44:30. I think it was. I've got something here that has the exact time on it, but I think it was like 44:30 on the co-op 120. We are not like, I mean, as far as individual runners, we're not the same at all. When we got that time,
Yeah.
like we're quite a bit like a lot improved since then. I don't know. It's really interesting to think if like that is going to translate. I don't know if it's going to translate. The only reason is because like while we might be better, there's just a lot of things with that run and how we designed it. Well, really, Beats designed most of it. It depends a lot on things lining up, kind of thing. So if we are faster, it does seem like okay, like we should be able to get this time down, but then how do things line up? Like, can we make it work the exact same if star times are different?
Yeah.
Because the like where we cross, where we line up, where we interact together in a co-op run is going to be different. And so it's funny, like we have this video, like we have the like video where we did that co-op 120 and we feel great about it. And we almost feel like this year when we take it on, we got to like start over. Like because things are so different as far as like times and where they cross. Like maybe this isn't true. We don't know. Like this is kind of like the unknown. We don't know if it can get much like we don't know if it can get much faster. Like we don't know if like there's a ceiling to doing our method of a co-op 120 compared to like the way they've been done from other people, which is like you take Womps, I take Cool Mountain, you take whatever. And so we don't, there are all these questions about like what that can be. But long story short, like we're kind of hoping like we can kind of stamp our name a little bit on co-op even more than it is right now. Like thinking that maybe, I mean, like Bubsy doing all his blindfolded stuff. I know you have Bubsy on. Holy crap, that dude blows my mind what he's doing. I don't know. Like I don't know how to say enough about like losing another one of my senses to doing runs just seems ridiculous.
I know. 100%.
Yeah, like seems so crazy, and he's just I mean doing things nobody's ever done. It's so cool that that's happening too. So like hoping that, I mean, not to like we're not copying Bubsy obviously or anything like that, but like another niche, like maybe something like that could help in that area. But it would have to be like we both, I think, would say like it would have to be something like that that kind of goes bigger than what it currently is to get to a place where it's like a full-time gig.
Oh, so. Of course. But even on the mention of co-op, you know, you take like that has kind of gotten bigger, and I definitely would credit you guys for that, because I know like over a year ago, like myself and Logan ran a bit just casually in the background because it was fun. But then the amount of traction that you guys got when you were going for your world record grind, and now how many people you see playing it on a regular basis, and that's kind of, I think, where it started. And now this is, you could say this is me playing devil's advocate here, especially when we talk about niches, but would you guys consider getting into like the tournament game with the co-op sort of aspect of it? Because if you like take last year, for example, last year, like 2024, in the sort of this little sort of Mario 64 speedrunning community, this sort of like that we are all a part of, that was the year of tournaments. Like, so do you think that, you know, like I say, talking about niches, if you did like a co-op sort of thing, that could really kind of get the exposure that you guys kind of feel like could help any sort of potential goals? And especially like you guys, I feel, are a lot more connected to, if you want to call them top level runners or more famous runners, than I think most people that we would know sort of on this kind of level. So, I mean, it just an idea, as I say, playing devil's advocate, throwing it out there, you know, but I mean, it's certainly something that could be, it could blow up, you know, who knows?
Totally. So, like, do you listen to Beats and I when we're talking, like not in public? I'm just kidding. Like we don't have anything to announce. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
But this is definitely a topic that Beats and I have talked about pretty extensively. Um, I, we like feel like we want to time things the best way that we
Yeah.
can. Um, Maybe a tournament right after we did like the world record last year would have been the right time, but at this point, we like we want to get back into co-op. Beats is doing the new run tournament. He's in the championship. They're doing DK. So like there's a lot of his time going into this game and learning it and stuff like that. But overall, like I think what we're thinking is we want to get back into this 120, see what we can do.
Yeah.
Like hopefully like beat our own world record. That's ultimately like what we want to do. And then like we've talked about like if that can like bring some traction, like if we can get another like YouTube video out that like some more people get eyes on. I know like people have seen the other one, but maybe like I don't know, maybe it can get a little bit bigger or things like that. And then like we do kind of want to eventually like try to put something like that on. I think some kind of like co-op tournament to see if we could get some others involved, because like the funnest thing that with co-op, like I could talk about co-op a really long time, and like I mean I'm only looking at this in the lens of like 2 runners right now, and obviously with co-op you could do like who knows how many, and so like the again possibilities grow so much, right? Because like how many runners, and then like when you're in like optimizing all of these types of runs, like what are the limits? But like with just like 2 runners, what we're thinking about right now with like 120 is like, one, how far can we push it? And like if we can push it further, like we still don't even know this is the best way. Like like I think that's what's kind of crazy is like we looked at it as like doing like worlds separate and things like that, and then when we do the math, oh wait, like if we do 100 coin like we're basically, the concept is we're eliminating 100 coin stars.
Yeah.
Like we are getting those coins throughout the levels that we're doing like together. And so like you're taking the entire time that you're not the entire, because it does have to be like added into your current movement with whatever star you're doing, because you're grabbing coins, but like you're basically eliminating an entire extra star that you have to do, because of the way co-op works is if like I go in, I grab 5 coins, as long as Beats comes into that level and is there when I leave, that coin count doesn't change. So like it keeps the 5 coins. And so we just basically leverage that to like get rid of some of the movement that we would be doing solo. And like this did, like we are not as good as the runners that had the world record before. Like there's, I don't even think it's a question. Like they were way better. These were top level runners. And honestly, it wasn't like they were grinding it out. Like it was D whatever and Zine that had it before we got it. They weren't like grinding it out, like trying to optimize it. Like it was a casual playthrough for these guys for the most part. They had deaths and things like that. And they had the world record. So like what I'm trying to point out is like we were not as good runners. We just like optimized it a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so like now the question is, what are the limits on that? Because now we have taken another year to like improve our own game. We're still not pros or anything like that, but we're quite a bit better. And so like now what is the limit of that? And then if that starts like gaining traction, or like people start getting excited, and we maybe not even excited, but like people's eyes are on it, like I would love for a ton of runners to be like, let's find a partner, let's have like 2 or 3 people try to figure out what the best way to do this is. Like there could be better ways that Beats and I haven't even thought of at this point that can make it so much faster. And so that kind of stuff is very exciting, and I love that you're like on that wavelength of tournament stuff, because it is stuff that like Beats and I talk about, we consider. I think it is in the future for sure. Like, and hopefully that kind of explains, like we're trying to almost like time it, like what way can we get co-op to like get a lot of exposure and people like really into it, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. It makes total sense, because at the same time, if that's something that you're going to pursue, it needs to be a semi long-term thing, and it's not something that you can kind of bounce between your normal categories and then kind of go into that sort of thing at the same time. Because like, you take Beats again for an example, because he has not really had his own normal schedule for a couple of months now, and now obviously there is a lot of factors to this, with like the new run tournament as we talked about, and then just his general stream schedule and busyness. But like,
totally,
but then yourself, you've had your normal schedule in that time, but then it's the sort of thing, like you say, you have to find the right time to sort of deviate from that. But like, even if it is the right time, you have to want to do it as well.
Yeah.
Because I think about it, you could find that in like June time, for talk's sake, that this could be the perfect time to pull the trigger and to sort of announce this competition and just kind of get the traction. But at the same time, imagine you have some incredible momentum. You're about to absolutely break through the ceilings that you never thought were there. And it's like, how do I do this, man? How do I do this? Do I want to do this? It becomes like an absolute sort of, it's a streamer's worst nightmare, I think, because as we've talked about before, like consistency is a huge thing. And like, what I absolutely love about it is that even if you do play, like if you have one game and that is your game, you still have to be creative with what you do. And like, obviously with Mario 64, when you get into the sort of like the levels of the likes of yourself, your streams do then take a little bit of a format. It's like, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of time practicing because this is where I need to improve, or this is where I can improve based on my splits, etc., etc. And then you have X amount of time for runs, and it kind of has to be like a well-oiled machine. And I think that's like the difference between somebody who's like a bit more casual about it versus I know what I want out of this. And I think it's like, I think it's a difference that is like kind of slept on in a sense, because again, it comes back to what we were talking about before in terms of what kind of streamer do you want to be. And like, sometimes you kind of have to, there is some aspects you kind of have to like forego in order to do different things. You can't sort of have, your eggs and all in one basket when it comes to streaming. And it's like, that's why it's such like an interesting sort of world we live in, because even though a lot of people that we know play the same thing, there is something different about absolutely everybody. And it's just such an incredible, engaging thing. And it's in a sense why the accessibility, I think, right now is like such a great thing, because people get to kind of live out something that they enjoy, even if it kind of is vicariously through other people at times, and because of other people, it's still a great thing.
Yeah. So I way agree. And like, the unique factor of everybody's stream is a thing. Like, that is definitely real. One thing I've always thought too is like, I mean, I've had discussions with Beats and like others, like what even, like, what is going to drive viewers? Like, what is even the driving factor? Like, is it, and we've touched on this a little bit again, is it like entertainment? Is it like that Mario is good? Is it that, like, I don't know, like the production that you're putting on, does it look way better? And that's why, like, I don't know if there is an answer, dude. Like, I really don't think there's an answer. I think that I watch everybody for different reasons. Like, and I enjoy different things about everybody's stream. And so I way agree that like there's different things about everybody. I don't think one thing is better than the other. I actually like think that the fact that everybody's journey is different, like, really, that's what the speedrunning thing is too. It's just a journey that somebody goes on. Like, and everybody's journey is very different, kind of thing. And so I like I personally have never had a problem with like tons of people going on and trying it. Because like, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is like, I love it when I see new people pop up and they're like trying Super Mario or another game or whatever they're doing. I love it. The way I look at it is that everybody's streaming journey has challenges, whether it's with the game you're streaming or whether it's with your production, whether it's with this or whether it's with that. And so like how many people are going to get through that kind of thing, and like how many people are going to find their own thing that works for them that they want to continue to do and stuff like that. It's hard, man. Like it's hard. Like you either have to like really love entertaining people or really love and like lots of people do. My brother's one of them. Like Matt loves to entertain. He's done it his entire life. Like it's his thing. He entertains people. And so like maybe that's what you love doing. Maybe you really love the game, but like the game sucks sometimes. You know what I mean? Like things like that. And so like I want everybody to try it. It's freaking hard. And so like the longer you do it, the more like I just respect what you're doing. Whether it's like still doing Mario or doing something else or doing like whatever avenue you find, I think I think that is awesome. And it's really hard to keep going. And if you find a way to do it, like I have a lot of respect for that. So I never got too worried about like saturation on Mario with people playing or things like that, because I was going through the journey. I knew how hard it was. I knew like other people were having like similar like things that they had challenges for. And like, I don't know, like it's tough. People are going to come and go. A lot of like some people stay, like look at all of us that stay around and stuff too, though. Like we're all great. Like, I don't know. I think it's great. Everybody has to find their own thing, and every stream, it really is different. So.
Oh, 100%. Like, I couldn't agree more, especially because, like you say, there are some people who stay, some people who go. There are some people who still do it after a couple of years, but their entire, like, setup is, like, totally different. Like, and it's just, like, they play different games, and there is somewhat, I think specifically with Mario 64, there is somewhat of a bandwagon in it, but, like... It sounds so negative when I say it like that, but like I don't mean it in a negative way. It's just because people see other people playing it, they want to give it a go, but then it's the sort of thing, it's like, well, no, I didn't really enjoy that, but I actually like streaming, so I want to go and do this instead. And like that's kind of how like some really incredible and interesting journeys can like really evolve and develop. And I think that's another reason why it's like such an incredible thing. And there's so many like personal benefits to it as well, in terms of, well, at the end of the day, you know, you are putting yourself in front of a camera with a microphone, you're talking to people, you're either talking to absolutely nobody, but having to sort of pretend that there's people there to be engaging, because when it comes to like TikTok short form content platforms, you have a very, very small window to keep people in your live. Because obviously, for those who don't know, when you stream on TikTok, it comes up at the bottom of your live, X person joined. And if people are going to stay, you have a very, very short window to really reel people in. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. I mean, and obviously, I mean, you get the people who come in, they will surf across streams to troll. And I mean, I have to say, I don't agree with it massively, but I do love the creativity sometimes, and it's a whole thing. But obviously with yourself, you started as a TikTok streamer. Like that was your main before branching out over to Twitch. And obviously it's TikTok in the States right now, it's one of those things. It was a hot topic for the longest time, but now that whole thing is like fizzled out, but like there is still going to be some imminent changes. So like, and obviously you still do stream on TikTok, but what's your thoughts on the current state of it? And like, in terms of going forward, are you trying to ride out TikTok as long as you can and then move over to Twitch, or what's the general sort of opinion on it?
Right now I feel like it's like my general opinion is this sucks for the most part. There's quite a few factors that play in, like for me personally, other people could have different experience. TikTok is definitely not the same since the US banned it for whatever 24 hours or whatever it was. And it makes sense to me why things are different. Like it just to put it in perspective for people, like in this, like obviously money isn't everything for stream, but like I lost like over 500 subs since that day, which
Damn.
like it happened. Like it's not the only reason that I'm streaming by any means,
Yeah.
but like it is a big reason to like continue and stuff like that. So like that sucks. First of all, is like TikTok's just been different. I mean, there are a lot of factors that go into losing subs, but like in general, feels like quite a different place since that day for me. So it sucks. I am still streaming on it. I have like talked to my mods and things about that quite a bit. It could change any day. I guess I don't know what the right thing to do is, and I'm trying to figure that out. I do know that I will like always I will remain on Twitch for sure.
Yeah.
And almost would say like Twitch is now like the main platform. Where I also stream outside of Twitch is not like a for sure thing. Like right now it is TikTok, but I have been dabbling in like streaming on YouTube and stuff as well. So that could change, and that could be my other platform shortly. I mostly like it's like computing power on why I don't just like stream everywhere right now, kind of thing. I think like I can handle two different platforms at a time, but over that I would need some more hardware and stuff. So
Yeah.
yep, that's kind of what it's looking like for me. It sucks. It just sucks. I don't like it.
No, for sure. And it's like, I think at this point in time, it's become like such a somber subject for people who started out on TikTok, because like there is like a sense of livelihood there that has just gone. And it's like, obviously TikTok, you know, for the likes of yourself was it why you fell in love with streaming, for example, because that's sort of that was what you knew at the time. That was the only thing. And then having to transition over, it's on paper it doesn't sound like the worst thing, but then when you break it down, you have to sort of, you're relying on having the same sort of like following, the same community, everybody there coming over with you, and not everybody's willing to do that. I've noticed this with a lot of people stateside. When they went over to Twitch, it was detrimental to their viewership, because, and for me, having started on Twitch, I don't understand, and I don't think I ever will, because like watching a stream on TikTok, you can't do anything else on your phone while you're doing it.
No,
you can now. That's a very recent feature that they've added in, but for me, it seems like a very much like a too little too late kind of thing, because they did it in weird stages where it would have been like you could have like hit the home button on your phone, but the audio would have still been playing from the TikTok stream. Yeah. But now it's like you can set it so that you've got like a small window. But that should have been a thing right from the very start, because that's something that Twitch has. And I'm kind of sitting thinking, it's like Twitch is an easier platform to watch people on, while you can then do other things on your phone if that's what you want to do. But how people haven't gone over more people haven't gone over to Twitch to watch other streamers is just beyond me. But I think it's just, for me, I'm on the other side of this kind of fence here, so this is probably my that's why I don't understand. But it's like, man, it's a strange time for everybody, because I agree as well. Like, even being in the UK, TikTok isn't the same that it was like 2 months ago, because like I'll scroll through the For You page, but every other thing that comes up on my For You page right now is a live stream, which is it's being pushed a lot more now, and it's usually a lot more UK. So I feel like the algorithm's kind of pushing a more based on your location kind of thing. I'm not really getting very many videos coming up, and again, if they are, it's either people I follow or people who I've seen before. So it's like the algorithm's almost like it's kind of not really as widespread as it used to be. It just seems weird. Like I It almost seems suspicious because like
Yeah.
you're not the first person I've heard say about the algorithm being different, streaming on it's just not the same. But it just feels like there's something going on, and it's like kind
Yeah.
of a sinking ship. Like,
I totally think that. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because I think the same thing. Like it almost feels like there's like something we don't know.
yeah,
And they are like working on that agenda and we don't know what that is. Like that is how it feels to me. There have been like I mean lots of new guidelines and things for streamers that have come out and it just like man, doesn't make a lot of sense. What like the whole I don't understand a lot of it. And
no,
I think that's where a lot of people are at. And it just feels different. The conversion thing you were talking about with like getting people to move over there. I don't know. I also like, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Like for some reason, people, I don't know. Is it like an atmosphere thing? Like, I
it
wonder if it's like
could
I'm on
be.
this app and I feel different than when I'm on Twitch or something
Yeah,
like that. I don't know. But there are definitely people that like would much rather view on TikTok than they would on Twitch. And
hmm,
there have been people that have gone over, they love it, but I would say like that's the minority. Is like there are more people that just won't move
yeah,
for the most part. So,
yeah. I mean, thinking about it, it could very well be like an identity thing because
yeah.
TikTok. You know, at its core, it's a social media platform, whereas
Mhm.
Twitch is a streaming platform. Like they are two
Yeah.
different things, but TikTok obviously has similar functions of with live streaming. But I almost feel like it could potentially be a thing if people are moving over to Twitch. Like maybe they might not feel as big a part of a community that they're in, or they might feel like they've lost their
Yeah.
identity or something. It could be any number of things. Um, but it's just I get yeah what you're saying. It could very well be true. Maybe it's the change in atmosphere because like at the end of the day, if you've discovered a streamer on
Yeah.
TikTok, it's because you're scrolling through short form content. You're scrolling through short videos,
Yeah.
and your attention span is kind of almost like wired to what you're watching on TikTok. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, it's a completely sort of circumstantial thing because you can literally go and watch a someone on Twitch for their entire stream, and it's not really like any different. You're not like sort of
Mm.
because you
Yeah.
know that that's long form content, and you know that you're in for with that. Whereas TikTok, you stumble across whether it's like you recognize somebody's name, you recognize the game they're playing, or you hear a familiar accent, things like that. It's sort of it's like we said before, like you've got a short window to kind of like reel people in. And I kind of think with viewers, especially on TikTok, it's like everybody knows who they are in terms of
Yeah.
that. And like there's like, you know, you could put a face to the name and things like that. Whereas on Twitch,
Totally.
everyone's like so faceless and
Yeah. Yeah.
just yes, I mean it could be like any number of reasons, but I think it's one of those things where maybe it might just boil down to the fact that sometimes people just they don't want another app to have to download or something. It
I
could just
know.
be as simple
Yeah.
as that. It's kind of
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah. It's a something that I, at the end of the day, I just it's do I believe in TikTok or not
Yeah.
in the future, I guess is like the ultimate question. And I think I lean towards not. Like, who knows? Like, what's going to happen even in a month? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
That's
So,
it because it is
yeah.
what was it like a 90-day extension or something
Yeah.
like that? So
Yeah.
what are we on now? But we're on about what 40 days or something like that. So
Yeah.
we're halfway nearly halfway there. It's like
Yeah.
but it just I even coming from like, you know, across the Atlantic,
Yeah.
I feel the nerves, the tension
Yeah.
of everybody streaming on TikTok from the States. It's kind of just like let's see what happens at the moment. Like it's the
Yeah.
sort of thing we don't know if we're gonna be here, but like at the same time, like the number of emotional goodbye videos on the
Oh, I
18th
know.
of January.
Oh my gosh. For real. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make myself do it. Like I did see them. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. It
Oh,
like I just like couldn't get. I was like, I. I'm so sad about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
yeah.
want any of this to happen. It is happening though, and like, so it just. Oh man, yeah, it just sucks. It is what it is. But we'll move forward.
Oh,
Everybody
for
moves forward.
sure.
Like it is. Like I'm not gonna quit speedrunning because again, like I've been saying, like the whole goal is just to get better at the game. So,
Yeah.
like that's not gonna quit. It just might be at a different place. So
Absolutely. Like, and then
yeah,
that's the thing. And you will always have those people who will follow you, whether it is
yeah,
everybody or whether it is a percentage, who knows. But even still, there's always going to be a platform that you can grow on and that,
yeah.
your community can expand. And like, obviously with Discords and things, that's why it's an amazing thing, because
Oh
if you
yeah,
have like 200 people in your Discord or something, there might be a number of those people who are waiting for you to go over to Twitch.
yeah.
Exclusive kind of
Totally.
thing.
No, you're right. Yeah,
It's a strange thing, and it's like, I think it's testament to the fact that lurkers are sometimes so slept on, because obviously
yeah,
everybody has their normal chatters every single stream, but the kind of thing, if you're especially on Twitch and if you see like the numbers and say like, okay, I've got like X number of people in here, but I can only see like 4 people chatting, like what's going on, kind of thing,
yeah.
and it's like, right, okay.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah, like they really do. So shout out to all the lurkers there.
I agree. We love the lurkers.
Yeah,
I
man.
have no problem. Lurk on my stream. If you never want to chat, it is fine. I do not care. Thank you for lurking. Way
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
So
Like, and it's good that you have the sort of foresight for what it is that you want to sort of achieve, and like,
yeah,
it's it's almost like sort of, it's, simplicity is such a beautiful thing in that aspect,
yeah,
because you have your game, you have certain things that you want to do with it, but at the same time, it's like, if these like extra little things, like what we mentioned with the co-op, if they don't really ever come into fruition,
yeah.
it's fine, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a sort of like low risk, high reward sort of thing. The thing
Exactly.
is, like, as well, if and when it does happen, like, the uptake is going to be insane. Like, because if you look at the amount of people who are already kind of taken up on that sort of thing, and like I said before, I definitely put that to you guys for popularizing it, 100%. And then, the likes of Boomy as well, who really, like, the work he put into sort of getting people together. But even still, that was all after the fact of you guys on your grind, getting that sort of all the people and pieces in place for for that to kind of become a thing. So like, it's
Super.
incredible, man.
It's like really kind of you to say that. To be honest, I did not have this perspective. Like I didn't know that like I just assumed people really liked playing co-op all the time, and so like I have seen people play it. I mean, there are people playing it. I just like I feel like you're being really kind attributing that to Beats and I. Maybe it did have an impact. I guess I hope it did, is what I would say. And I mean that's really cool. It's really kind of you to say that. So
Of course, man. I definitely I definitely think it's true, because as I say, like, I'd done a bit myself in the past, but like, it was only just here and there. But I think more, let's go back to like sort of something we've sort of touched on quite a lot, in the fact that you've put in the time over a sort of semi-long period of time to really get that exposure there, and for
yeah.
getting so many different eyes on it. And to be honest, I'm surprised that more people haven't really done it at all, because like, Mario 64 at its core is one of those games that is notoriously single player. And
Yeah.
how many people have said that they wish that there was a multiplayer function, and now they have it on the best possible platform, and it's kind of just like, yeah, cool, I'll just watch.
Yeah. Dude, I wanted to play with like again, like this goes back to Beats and I playing games. Like we always wanted to play this game together.
Yeah.
Never could. Like it wasn't a thing. And I mean now it is. And so that's really the drive. And yeah, man, one thing we haven't touched on enough that I really do want to like just talk about is like Mario 64. I just like have a massive passion for like like we've talked about that it's hard, but like it is an endless pit. Like in my mind, it is an endless pit of how good you can get. And this is something I had no idea when I was starting. I did not realize how deep this pit was until, like, you know, you play for a year and you're still a long ways away. Then you play for 2 years, and like that's about where I'm at now. I'm still like we're talking minutes, you know, and like as of recent, I may have not been playing as much as I did for, let's say, a year and 9 months. But those year and 9 months were basically like, I mean, I'm telling you, if I was not working or I was not with my family or like doing something I was obligated to do, I was mostly like trying to learn movement in Mario.
Yeah.
And like I spent that amount of time. Other people are probably better at video games than me and they can learn faster. My brother's one of them. Like, and so like, I'm not saying like it can't be done faster, but what I am saying is that I have spent an insane amount of hours trying to learn this game. And I am not particularly close to the people that are very, very good at this game. There is still so much to learn. And so I guess I'm raving again at this point about this game. But like the reason that there's so much competitive and passion and stuff still is because Mario 64 is like, it was designed and made for speedrunning. It's crazy that it was, but I am so grateful that the game that I ended up speedrunning was Super Mario 64, because I don't think it is one by itself, in my opinion. Like I haven't speedrun every game in the world. Other people probably will have quibs with what I'm saying. Like there's this other game that I'm not even like considering that is better at speedrunning, or like better for speedrunning, harder to learn, those kind of things. Super Mario 64 though, like it's got to be top 5. Like I can't imagine that it's not a top 5 game, just because the amount of depth. Like when you get on and watch the like people speedrunning this game, I'm one of those people. I watched, I was like, I could do that. Like I can totally learn that. And guess, like you can. You definitely can. You do not realize what you're saying when you're saying that, though, because learning this game and everything that goes into it for like a Sweegie is so particular. Like these guys that get the world records, they are completing the hardest sequence combo that you've done in any video game, and they are not missing it for hours. Yeah. That is what is happening. And it is thrilling for me to think that like I've been playing for this long, and that's still something that I could aspire to like try to get to. And it's why I'll like continue playing this game for I like don't even know when it's not gonna end. This is why I keep talking about like what is that ceiling? Where is that end? Yeah. There probably isn't. Exactly. Like there's gonna be an end for like how far I can ultimately reach. That's probably not world record or anything like that. But like even let's say, okay, Sweegie in the last 3 days has beaten his own 0-star and 1-star world records.
Yep.
He left that category. He hasn't touched it in months. Everybody else has had every opportunity. The entire pool of Super Mario 64 speedrunners have had months of opportunity to beat his time. He gets on for 1 day on 0-star, beats it. Gets on the next day, or I don't remember which one it was, but gets on the next day and beats the other category. So, like, there's never an end. Like, Sweegie had the world record. He left it for months, and he came back and did it better. And so there really, even if there were like somebody, myself, beats any other runner were to achieve a world record, that's not even the end.
Oh, for sure.
Because guess what? Carpetless gets invented.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or guess what? The freaking HMC sign glitch I've been seeing all over X is a thing now. So like it's never gonna end. And so that yeah, this is my declare of love for like it is like an obsession. It's crazy. Speedrunning Super Mario 64 is something that I will probably do forever, and it's never something that I'll be like done with, like because there isn't an end, kind of thing. So yeah, I wanted to get that out about that game because it's amazing, and speedrunning it is just crazy. So
Of course. And if that isn't passion, I don't know what is. Honestly, that is just incredible. And like, it's a very insightful thing that you've said because it just does show the sort of depth as to the game. How like over the course of 20 plus years of speedrunning, of documented speedrunning, that there are still new things coming out about the game. New things that people are discovering that are able to be done by humans. And like, I just
I
think
know.
it is really, it is incredible. It is incredible. And like, I have, there are times I can be quite outspoken about certain things with it, but at the same time,
Yeah,
like, it's
sure, me too.
just, but it is just such an incredible thing. And like, it just shows the sort of the, the level that people go to really still research and keep alive one of the most iconic games of the 90s and even going forward as well, because especially if you look at like some of the top runners, if you want to call them that, it's like they're younger than the game
Yeah,
itself. Like,
totally.
that's what to me is like something absolutely incredible. Like, I run a lot of randomizer, and
Yeah.
there's somebody who I met through somebody else who was running randomizer, and I don't know what it is, but when it comes to these sorts of things, I just assume everyone is around the same age as me, and I don't know
Sure,
why.
me too.
And then I
Yeah.
found out that this guy who I met, Ryzen Phoenix 64 is his name, 10 years younger than me. I'm like, dude, like, I mean, no, okay, to be fair, I was only 2 whenever the game came out. Um, but still,
Yeah.
I was still single digits the first time I ever played this game, and now I'm in my 30s still playing it. But there are people who are like, there are people. Okay, there are people who the equivalent would be the DS version,
Right.
but even they
Right.
know that that version sucks.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it does.
so it's kind of like, I just, and I personally do love the fact that it is still alive and it is still a growing thing, and more people are doing it. There's more exposure, and it's like you say, it was made for speedrunning.
Yeah.
Shigeru Miyamoto might disagree, but at the same time,
Yeah.
he has created one of the most influential things in
Yeah, he
speedrunning,
has.
albeit
Yeah.
inadvertently. So yes, Ty, it has been incredible having you on behind the camera with AndyGames. Thank you so much for taking the time. I would just like to give you the floor for a second if you would like to plug yourself, let us all know where we can find you.
Yeah. Yeah, so TNewm, find me on you can still find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube. And also on Twitch, I'm TNewm221508. Is that right? I think it is.
I hope
I
it
know
is,
it's a
because that's
little
what I have
longer
on the
tag.
screen here.
Yeah, okay. Yep. That's what it is. So anyways, yeah, I'm streaming like usually when I'm streaming Super Mario 64 runs, so you'll see 70 star, 120, 16 a lot. But the plug definitely is so last year, NewmanBeatbox and I, as we were talking about it, we beat the 120 star co-op world record. So both of us together. We did it we did the reason we were able to do it is because it was in a unique way. So like we did not we were not as fast as like the guys that had it previously. They are pro runners. But our route was pretty different. It was intertwined, and it allowed us to like save time that originally we couldn't. So I would plug that. If you haven't seen that video, it's in all my bios. It's on YouTube. Please go give that a watch. And just for this upcoming year, Beats and I will be attempting to beat that world record. So that is coming this year. And if you enjoy it, tune in. We're going to be working on that. So, Andy, way appreciate the time. Appreciate you having me on. Love the conversation. Just I felt like we were just chatting for a while, for an hour and a half, and I really enjoyed it. So appreciate it, man. Thanks for it. Hope you're having tons of success here too. I've been catching episodes. I haven't caught every single one, but just like props to you, man. Thanks for doing this, like giving us a platform, giving different people a platform to get their name out there, to have discussions, to have people hear them more. Appreciate you, man. You're really, really valuable and awesome for the community.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you saying that. Honestly, it's incredibly kind. And I am a firm believer that every single person has a voice, has a story, and they should be allowed to tell it, because why not? Because
you're letting that happen.
You will never know what sort of hidden gems people will come out with. And it's just nice to get to chat to the likes of yourself and others as well. So honestly, I do appreciate you taking the time, and I look forward to 120 Co-op being revitalized. I look forward to what you guys can come up with and how you can do it, and just the work that goes into it. And obviously for the future, wishing you all the best in streaming, especially with the potential upcoming changes regarding TikTok. But again, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks. And there you have it. That was my conversation with TNewm. Honestly, a man filled with such a great passion for the game that he streams. And you honestly love to see that, because it's so evident that this man is in streaming for the right reasons. And his relationship with his brother and their journey together in streaming and playing this game and their competitiveness, honestly, something to behold. That was an incredible chat with TNewm tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to Behind the Camera. We will be back again soon with another installment. But until then, peace.